And we're live. Hi, everyone. This is going to be the final video leading up to the WTC. I'm here with Alistair. And magically, apparently, we all had a little bit of a gap in our schedule this morning. So we have time to do one final video. And it's the two final teams that we're going to talk about. It's going to be England 3 and Spain 5, which is the ringer team, a team that was put together because we had odd numbers. So...
Yep. Absolutely crazy. So on a Thursday morning before, the WTC arrive in Cork, sorry, not Cork, Granada.
Granada.
Living in the past.
Yeah.
So 1,000 points, 20 generic platoon, big list of units, all the lists are legal. Let's see what's left.
Yeah. As always, it's just two guys on the internet. If you don't like your list, and we might not, because I mean, Spain 5, they were just the ringers. They were called in as reserves. The list might not be terribly competitive, so we might actually talk a lot of crap with just two guys on the internet. Don't cry about it.
Who's first?
First, we do England 3. Now, this is actually not a bad team as such, but they are not top players either, so far as I understand. And I had real trouble getting in and actually viewing the lists. So can you open them, or do we need to see if I can? I can open one here.
Okay.
All right. So this is their British reinforced platoon. So it's blood curling charge, which I think is interesting. I've seen this in a couple of the lists, but maybe not optimized for Gurkha assault Brits. I don't know. It's got an inexperienced lieutenant, 2 Gurkha sections of 7 men with rifles, the artillery observer, a flamethrower team, a sniper team, a land mattress, British recce jeep with the extra MMG, so that's 10 shots, 45 points. Don't ever tell me that medium machine gun teams are worth it with this being 45 points. A Dhaka Steward, a Bren carrier, a jeep, inexperienced, that one. A lieutenant more, another Gurkha section, this one only 6 men with a single SMG. A Royal Canadian Engineer section with a flamethrower, these are regulars. Another land mattress, another Dhaka Steward, 16 order dice, 1,000 points.
Yep. We have spoken about this British list in all its different disguises, as you have with all your other guests. There's Gurkhas, there's Canadian Engineers, there's Dhaka Stewards, there's Bren carriers, there's multi-launchers, there's a free observer, then there's Gurkhas.
Yep.
It's going to be good enough for 3 wins, and it will enjoy a good weekend. There's not a huge amount more you can ever say about it. This is probably one of the more preferred builds that I would like to see, though, because it's got flamethrower team, sniper team. I like to have the toolbox.
The only thing it doesn't really have is it doesn't have a mortar. I would prefer to have a mortar in there, maybe instead of the flamethrower team, because the flamethrower, you already have the engineers. I mean,
yes, but sometimes players like to have the single flamethrower in a jeep as a wild card, and I am one of those. I like to have it running about the backfield to plug some gaps. Little annoying things though. The Bren carrier has only got the 1 LMG. They didn't buy the Pintle, but you could have found the 10 points somewhere to do that. That's my only real sort of criticism of it. But other than that, it's got lots of machine gun shots, 2 multi-launchers, delivery system for the engineers, and then Gurkhas. But as you said, it's that blood curdling charge.
Yeah. For me, that means that he's vulnerable to pins, and that is one thing that could stop a Gurkha charge is them being pinned down and failing the test to charge, right?
Yep. Up and at 'em.
Yeah, up and at 'em I think is better, but I mean it's still a good list. It's still a really dangerous list. It just means it's not completely overpowered. Right. So that was one, and then we have German list. Let's see if I can open this. Can't. You do it, Alistair?
Nope, I've got the same
I've got the same problem. Then we have their Italian list. I think I can open that one. So this is the Italy case blue, and it's bringing the Credera, which I believe is the one that makes Black Shirt and Elm Battalion's Fanatic. It's got a second lieutenant. It's got the Savoia Cavalleria, that's the double charging cavalry. Divisione Costera section. I don't know what this is.
I've never heard of them in my life.
It's got a single SMG rifles in its 5 men. So it's really cheap. 18 order dice. 18 points for 5 men. Really cheap. But it's not going to do a thing.
Yep, they must have every negative trait possible.
I think so.
Because a submachine gun always costs 3 points.
Yeah.
Which means 5 men for 15 points.
That's 3 points a man.
Yeah.
It must be, and they do have rifles. So I don't know what that is.
They must be shirkers and everything horrible about infantry.
Yeah. Flamethrower team, light howitzer with a spotter. The AB-41, I like that with the light AC, like that build there. An AA truck with another light AC. I really like light autocannons for Italians with the new national special rules. A mule tow, an auto predetto that is an Italian version of the Hanomag, isn't it? It's got an MMG, an 8-man capacity. It's really expensive for a single MMG. Another lieutenant, inexperienced, another cavalleria, and another Divisione Costera. Another flamethrower, another howitzer, another AB-41, another AA truck, Multa, auto predator. So completely the same platoon twice.
Yeah.
18 order dice, 1,000 points.
Look, instinctively, I would say this maybe is their fake list, but again, though, they've leaned into the light autocannon. Again, leaning into the new rules from Case Blue when they can re-roll the penetration shots. Those auto protettos, the only thing that can go in them would be maybe the flamethrower team, and the
Divisione, whatever. Yeah,
those 5.
Why would you put them in? I mean,
5 idiots. I think just to keep them alive. Just to keep them alive.
18 points to keep a single MMG alive. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but it does the trick, and in the end, if they are looking to games like sectors, so get into deployment zones, that protects them and moves them along.
It does. Yeah.
Gets them onto objectives. They're not needed to fire a weapon because the transport's only got one medium machine gun.
Yeah.
So that's good, and I am sure they're a 7+ armored half track. So wheel, but they're definitely armored.
Yeah, they're definitely armored.
It's okay. The two, and then you've got the 2 veteran, potentially double assault cavalry.
Yeah, to run up one on each flank, I would do that. See if I could get into the back lines of my opponent. Yeah.
Veteran 6-man, so and the light howitzers are there with spotters. So I don't like the list. I would never use a list like this myself, but I can see that it's got some merit.
Yep. It's got the tools. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't believe it's got the right level of infantry to carry the game, which is really required. Yep. What is there, like 12? There's 24.
Yeah.
26. There's 26 physical infantry or cavalry models.
Yeah, that's not
enough.
That's not enough.
That's not enough. Your average British armies. Yeah, your average British army's got at least like 20 Gurkhas running about.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and that will easily kill 26 other infantry
of anybody.
Yeah.
So
I don't think it's got enough infantry. It's got enough ranged firepower though. I really like the inclusion of all these light autocannons and the double howitzers. Yeah.
But I think this will get pulled apart.
It will
reasonably quick. So. But again, I know that we've got other lists to talk about, but this is the biggest dice count for an Italian army that we've seen at the WTC. All the other Italian lists, I believe, hover around 12.
Yep.
And that's because they are trying to mitigate the gaps that we've spoken about. So they've got the M15 Daca Italy tank, or they've got bigger bigger infantry squads, or they've got the black shirts, or whereas this has gone a slightly different path. So we'll have to see what the Italian lists do at the WTC, but
yeah.
Yep.
So I really apologize about not having the rest of the list. I can't access them. I don't know how, but I think I may have them somewhere in my inbox because I think Dan Lane actually sent them to me at some point. So I'm just doing a search here.
Well, I will fill the gap and talk about the England 3 captain. Whoever you are, you should have organised your lists better. That's really what should have happened. But as we're speaking, myself and Bo recording this video on Thursday morning, the WTC has effectively started because the WTC this year has a singles event. And it's 2 days and 6 games. So for those players that are taking part, they are doing it tough, because I think if they're also part of a team participating on this Saturday and Sunday, that's 12 top-level games of bolt action in 4 days. That doesn't sound like fun.
No. It sounds like a lot of hard work.
It sounds like a hard slog. And then combining the social aspect that goes with wargaming, I wouldn't make it.
Because at least one of those nights you end up partying, right? You end up having drinks with your, because we're all friends by now. We all know each other, so you're going to end up having more than one drink at one point.
And for me, Bo, it would be every night.
Yeah, it would.
Every night would be party night. Couldn't stop. And I know this because once upon a time, I have done 2 Blood Bowl World Cups. They only come around every 4 years. But the Blood Bowl World Cup is 9 games of Blood Bowl over 3 days. And I know that is hard work.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah. But it was good. But they are good fun. So with that gap filling, Bo, have you managed to find any more?
I have not. Lists? I'm sorry. I know that Dan, he sent me the same 2 lists, so that didn't help. And then I know that someone else sent them to me, but I can't remember for the life of me who did. So I'm not able to find the last few lists. We can do one thing though. We can look at what it is that they're actually like, the nations they're bringing, which should tell us something as well. So let's just do that. And so they're bringing a German list, which I kind of like the fact that more teams are including German lists by now. It speaks to me of Germany that's maybe resurging a little bit in the competitive scene. They've been out for quite a while. Are you seeing good competitive German lists as well in Scotland?
Yes. Yeah, but I think Scotland might be, or always has sort of set aside a little bit from some metas that Germany never left for us. But I think that's because of the player packs that are often used. We've got quite a few more single platoon events, and whenever single platoon comes up, Germany steps up and becomes a competitive choice. And they've also got access to excellent autocannons, both heavy and light, in all the different sections, be it artillery, armoured car, and tank. So they do combat the Gurkha meta. And I think as well, with the addition of Case Blue now, the Gerber 43, 44 sniper rifle.
Yeah, the double tap sniper.
Yeah, that's an excellent tool. I cannot wait to use that this year myself. And if you want to go with those Fallschirmjäger Pioneers with the +1 to shoot flamethrower, it's just extra tools for Germany. So
So the German lists, I expect those who do well to be really toolboxy, like you would build a list where there's like a little bit of everything in it, and you have all the tools, not leaning into one thing overly much, but having all of the tools so you can deal with all situations. I think that's the way to go with Germany. I think if you're running competitive Germans, I think that's the way to go. We're also seeing a Soviet list, of course, because Soviets are just the best, or the second best nation. I mean, if they ever nerf the Gurkhas, I think the Soviets will be the top competitive nation, right?
The Soviets as well, they can go down multiple paths. They can deploy a horde backed up by cheap multi-launchers. They can mount up on the veterans with veteran engineers, veteran scout squads, and then still keep the dice count up with cheap dog mines. So there's a lot of different paths that the Soviets can go down. So they're the ultimate toolbox nation, and
really,
they should always be taken.
And then Americans, I am seeing more and more Americans finishing in at least in the Danish meta in the top part. And that's mainly due to the fact that they combine really good skirmishing with the ability to always include their multi launchers and engineers, really cheap engineers. That combination is really good in a build, I think.
I think there is one build that I haven't seen from the Americans yet anywhere, and that is the Soviet-style multi-launcher list, because the Americans can do it even better, because they've got access to the rocket truck from the Mariana Palau Island expansion, so they can double up on them, double up on the 114 multi-launcher, and then you could introduce your flamer spam, your barbecue list on top of that. So there's still paths the US lists haven't gone down yet, but their inclusion is warranted.
Yeah, really is. Right. So the final team that we're going to look at will be Spain, the referee team, as they say. So I guess it'll be a few Spanish players, and if any gaps needs filling out, I think maybe one of the refs will come and join and play a little bit. So first list that we have here, if it will open, is Romanians. Now, I loved seeing this because you and I both play Romanians at times. Mine, I call them Czechoslovakians, doesn't matter, but it's the same. So I really loved seeing Romanians. I really do hope that they bring this list as well. They've got an inexperienced second lieutenant with an SMG. They've got combat pioneers, a single section of those veterans. So they're very expensive, but I really like the inclusion because it brings some much needed like staying power and killing power in the list. It's got a single Panzerfaust, double SMGs, so pretty dangerous. And a cavalry section. I would never think of bringing a cavalry section here. But you do include it. They're not on horseback though.
No.
Yeah, but that's the reason why I would not even think about looking at them. Because why would you bring them? They've got a Panzerfaust, 6-man unit, and then late war with rifles, Panzerfaust. Like very, very basic, back to like when we first, all of us started playing bold action, we would bring these rifle squads with maybe a single upgrade of some sort. Panzerfaust or an LMG or something. That's what they're bringing here. I like it. Heavy mortar team, regular with spotter, Panzerschreck, sniper, 3-medium artillery piece with, so that's a howitzer. Brandenburgers as the Axis support. I like this inclusion as well.
Good choice.
Good choice. Attack him. So that's a forward-facing Cis 3 with a hull-mounted MMG. So another howitzer. And a horse-drawn limber and a truck for the engineers. 14 ordered eyes. I really like this list.
Yeah, I like the list, but it's not good. It's not great. Sorry, that was a terrible thing to say. It's not great.
Yep.
Oh, like there's some odd choices in the infantry section.
Yep.
But I think it's just semantics. Like late war infantry, you could have just taken the motorized infantry, and they get the same options.
Yep.
So the cavalry and late war infantry, they're just all the same stuff. Perhaps he's just got different miniatures painted for it.
Maybe.
I really enjoy having the heavy spotter. Sorry, the heavy mortar with the spotter.
Yep.
The Panzerschreck team, listen, it's good to have some anti-tank.
Yeah, but it's too expensive, isn't it?
Too expensive, and there's no transport for it, unless it gets in the truck.
Yeah,
with the Pioneer squad.
Which you could.
Yeah.
But then you're going to one direction, both with your Flamer and your Panzerschreck.
Yeah. Listen, having the Brandenburgers there is a fantastic thing for protecting your flanks, or at least causing some issues for them. Yep. But it's 3 Panzerfausts and 130 points, and I'm sure that if that's assault rifles, that acronym there,
yep, STG is the assault rifle, yeah.
Yeah, I figured it was. That's a huge point sink into a big squad, which is only 5. Okay,
Yeah.
so they're 5 guys. They're fanatic. They've got tough fighter. They've
But
got
for
assault rifles.
130 points,
Yeah,
that's more than 8 Gurkhas.
they've got 3 Panzerfausts.
It's insane.
But it feels like everybody's going to be arguing over that truck.
Yeah.
Who gets in it?
Who gets the truck? Who
Yep.
gets the truck?
So
Right.
I like seeing Romania, but there are better ways to run it.
I think an easy fix would have been to cut out the Panzerschreck and buy another howitzer.
Yes.
That wouldn't help, because then you have 2 fixed howitzers and 1 mobile howitzer. That would have given you a lot of what you need, because with the Brandenburgers you're encouraging the enemy to be on the board, right? Not outflank
Yes.
you, and then you have to have something that can receive that. And I think another howitzer would have done the trick for me.
Yep. The big positive of this list, though, is the number of infantry models and the number of infantry units
Yep.
that can actually go out and claim
Yep.
and contest objectives.
Yep.
Because even that heavy mortar,
Yeah,
can run around and be useful.
yeah. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 units, and then on top of that, there's the Brandenburgers. That's 10 units, and the artillery piece can sit on an objective. So that's 11 units that can actually take objectives. That's a lot of units.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah, I like it, and I think for the Spain 5 who have been called up at the last minute, it's a good list to take.
Yeah. Next one is Soviets. So junior lieutenant, inexperienced SMG, mounted recons with the usual flamethrower, 5-man units, free rifle squad, medium mortar, inexperienced M30. So it's another one of the M30 lists. We've seen a lot of these. A Darker Stewart with Recce. Double Bren carriers with the pintle mounted MG. Mule team, another lieutenant, double guards with Panzerfausts. I like the inclusion of these. Medium mortar inexperience, another M30. And another Darker Stewart and a mule team. 17 order dice, 1,000 points.
Yeah, this is very much a cookie cutter style army list, plucking out everything that the player finds useful, because it doesn't have everything. It's not the greatest hits of the Soviet Union, as you would say. There's no BA-20s. He's not used his armored car slot at all.
Yep.
But it's still a really good list with the 2 mortars, the 2 M30s, and they're bought in the correct format in that they are regular with spotters.
With spotter, yeah.
Yep. So
expensive though. 70 points for a multi-launcher that can shoot potentially 3 times in a game. That's very expensive.
It's worth it. I know that you've had other guests on your channel covering these lists, and they've got all opinions on the M30. But from my own gaming experience, having used 2 M30s, all you're looking for is 1 hit.
Yeah.
Per game from each of them.
That will take out a unit. Yeah.
That's all, because it hits like a heavy howitzer. That's all you're after. And with the double recon squads, the double Stuarts, so that can be a really good sort of flying wedge to go forward. And then you've got the 2 guard squads just to hover the backfield and mop up anything that's left.
Yeah,
it's a good list. I would rate it as 3.5.
Yeah, me as well. Or maybe even a 4. I mean, it's a really good list. It's very cookie cutter, as you say. It's very standard. We've seen a lot of these choices. I think at one point I had Russell on, and he did like, this is the standard British list. If everyone had taken the standard thing, then this would be the standard Soviet list for this tournament. I think these choices would be the most average choices.
It's for me to get a higher rating. It doesn't have any veteran troops.
No.
So
and it doesn't have any dog teams at all.
No. So once the fighting starts, if anybody wants to sort of get the bayonets out and go hand to hand, this list will crumple.
Yeah, quickly. Right. So that would need to have that in order for it to become a 4 in your eyes.
Yeah, it needs a veteran core. It needs to be able to handle itself in combat, or at least have the veterancy to be able to sustain the return fire. Because when those recon squads get out of the Bren carriers, fire their flamethrower, if it misses, that is all dead. They will just all die. Doesn't matter who's in front
even
of them.
if they hit and kill something, they will die the turn after.
Yeah, because if they've left a man behind, then there's only four. There's only
four regular dudes.
Four regular guys standing there. You kill two of them, and they're having a leadership check.
Yep. Right. And you're pretty likely to kill three anyway, so that's the last man standing. Exactly. So that you're taking the leadership test with the -1, because I mean you're taking off the NCO, of course you are, because you need the flamethrower. So yeah, it's not the greatest, right? Anyways, so we have Japan here, second lieutenant regular with an SMG, and then bamboos, 3 bamboos, full strength, Inex, the lot. Heavy mortar team, Inex, 3 suiciders, Inex, a 20mm AA gun. I think that's a light autocannon. It's got a 3-man crew. The SS Key, which has the flamethrowers, mule team, another lieutenant, 3 more bamboo fighters, 3 more suiciders, another AA gun, and another SS Key and mule team. 21 order dice. This is the meme list, isn't it? This is the bamboo forest, and they're even trying to clear the brush by flaming it all down. I mean, yeah.
It's the horde list.
Yep.
It's not the optimized version because there is no Kempetai officers anywhere to be seen.
Yep.
So for me, I declare this list as their fake.
I think so too. I think so too. Also because including the 20mm AA guns, they're nice to have. Don't get me wrong. But what he's going to do is he's going to sit out front with all of his infantry. Where's he going to shoot? He's going to get in his own way so easily. And that infantry, it will not stand up in a fight. It will die. Yeah, it might stand up against the US list, but facing any of the British lists, it'll just get cut to pieces. The suiciders are really difficult to connect with. I mean, yeah, I think this is a dud as well.
Yeah. I mean, if it does turn up, it will do okay.
Yeah.
No, don't get me wrong. Having what is that? Is that 90? The 90 bamboo spearmen.
Yeah, it's 90 bamboos.
It's still a lot of warm bodies to chew through.
Yeah.
2 flamer tanks, not to be sniffed at.
No.
And then you've also got
they die so easily. They're 7+.
They do, but they're fully enclosed. They've got quite a small profile.
Yeah.
And then you've got the. Was there a heavy mortar in there, or did I just make that up?
There was a heavy mortar. It's a single heavy mortar. One of the things that I think he should have done is to take out one of the AA guns and put another mortar in there.
Yeah.
Because it's almost the same. It's 45 for the AA gun. It's 46 for the inexperienced medium mortar, heavy mortar. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I don't think this list will be turning up.
Nope.
But if it does, it'll play well.
Yeah, it will win some games at least. Don't go against the Gurkha lists. You'll lose. Right. Then they're bringing a German one. I think this one is coming. It's got a lieutenant with an assault rifle. It's got storm pioneers with rifles and a flamethrower. It's got the Brandenburgers again. This time a little bit better in the build, I think, with a single assault rifle and 4 submachine guns and a Panzerfaust. So a little cheaper than the last Brandenburger we saw. A medium mortar team, inexperienced Nebelwerfer. The 250/9 with a light autocannon. A Flampanzer 2 with the double flamethrowers, 1 on each side, and the turret-mounted MMG. Horse-drawn Limber, another lieutenant, again with an assault rifle, double cavalry divisions with LMGs and Panzerfaust, 5 men. I think this is coming because I think these are backline holders. He's going to hold down his backline with these LMG lists. Do I agree that you should bring LMGs? No, never, but I think it's coming. Sniper, and another multi-launcher, the Sverre's Wolfgerät, Howling Cow. Motorcycle with sidecar and a Panzerwerfer, so that's 3 multi-rocket launchers. 15 order dice.
I don't really like this German list. I think there's more creative ways you can be Germany, but this seems to me it's very much it's not an attacking list. It's a stand back and see what happens list.
I think it's what you would term a camping Germans. I've borrowed that term from our South African cousins, because that's what they call their Germans. They'll sit on in their own back line and just shoot at you and wait to see if you die or do something.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
So with the 3 multi-launchers, yep, sit back,
Yep.
fire away. Just a regular sniper.
Yep.
Just to see if they can put a few pins on stuff to keep them in place for the multi-launchers to get them.
Yep.
For sure, the Brandenburgers will, slow down those outflanks. They're really good. The Stun Pioneers are the back to basic version of them, so just 5 of them with a flamethrower.
But
they are veteran.
One mistake has been made. They lack a field car.
Yep, there's nothing to get them around, which is why these are going to stand back. There's no assault element.
They can't get
on.
up. Can't get up there.
No.
So they'll hold down a very small area of the battlefield, and deny the enemy access to that area. But yeah.
And I think if the player does bring this, they'll be using the armored car, the 250/9, and the motorbike sidecar as bait, trying to throw them out to draw their opponent to go in a particular direction and then recce away from them. So it's not the path I would go down with Germany. There's more exciting ways to do it, but 15 order dice, it's a good dice count. Completely lacking enough infantry to make it work. You've got all these minimum 5-man squads. It just is bizarre when you pick units like the 22nd SS Cavalry Division. It's like, but it's just 5 regular guys with a light machine gun and a Panzer.
It is, yeah.
But
yeah.
They're just German guys.
Yep.
Sorry, Spain 5. Your German list is a bit dull. You could be a bit more exciting.
And the final list. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, with Germany, especially when we know that Spain is just full of excellent players and good players. And it would just be nice if they, took inspiration from their fellows and gone down those paths. But
well, they have taken inspiration, but it's a little bit copy paste inspiration. I mean, because the first time I saw the 250/9 used competitively and well was Achilles, who used it against me like a few years back. And now everyone is using the 250/9 in all their German lists, so it's a little bit copy pasty.
Yeah, I have not made that leap yet, but I'll give it a try this year.
Final list is another British one, again with the blood-curdling charge. I don't get this. I don't understand it. The Free Artillery Observer and the Lieutenant, of course, pretty standard. Gurkha Perez, 2 8-man and a 7-man, all with rifles. Royal Engineers with the 3 SMGs and a flamethrower.
Veteran, though.
Veteran. Stubborn veteran. And a sniper team, regular. Heavy mortar team, inexperienced. Flamethrower team, regular. Land mattress. Humber armored car. I really like this. I need to get myself a Humber armored car, don't I?
Same.
Yep. A Darker Stewart, a Bren carrier, and a Jeep with a pintle mount here. Yeah. And that is it. So in total, 14 order dice, 1,000 points.
Yeah, he splashed all the money on the Stuart, 145 points.
Yep.
So it's got everything.
And the pintle mounted as well.
Yep.
Which you don't want to fire most of the time unless you move this as the very last thing, because otherwise you'll get charged or shot at and pinned because you're on the top suddenly. So yeah, you pretty much know that is going to try and go last.
Yeah. For a single platoon, it is good. It's very good.
It is.
They need to ditch that blood-curdling charge, though, and replace it with up and atom.
Yeah. Especially because they have 3 Gurkha Perez here. These guys need to move and connect with the enemy. They need to charge every time they can.
As our Australian cousins would say, it's British Banzai.
Yep.
That's what they need to have. Yep. The engineers are tooled up and they've got a brain carrier, so they're a really good attacking unit. Flamethrower team and a Jeep. And the Humber. I have seen lists like this from Spain before.
Yep.
although they freed up more points to get a Staghound as opposed to the Humber. Whereas I think they've spent their points more in the Gurkha section, which is no bad thing. Gurkhas are always going to get you the return.
They are, No, the reason I like the Humber compared to I mean I own 2 Staghounds, so I'm a huge Staghound fan. I also own quite a few of the airborne recce jeeps and the motorcycle. So I like the armored car section for Brits is just brilliant. One thing that I don't own and that I think I should get into, and that is something you taught me, is tanks and armored cars with autocannons might actually be where it's at. So I really need to get myself a version of this Humber with the autocannon and the coaxial MMG, because bringing that up into the side of a Stuart, and suddenly that Stuart is in real trouble.
It's any getting it into the side of any of the tanks that have got weak sides. I've seen it happen to me. I've seen the 250/9 take out Shermans with weak sides and the side armor very easily. But good British list. I would expect this to come. So I think it's Spain 5. You should be dropping your Japanese list.
I think so too. Also because it's not fun to play all those bamboo. I mean, moving them is just such a hassle. I mean, you need movement trays, basically.
Well, I believe movement trays at the WTC are outlawed.
I think so too. Although I did see them last year, but we'll see. Right. Here at the end, I usually ask you like if these two teams went up against each other. But since we only saw half of the English team, we can't really do that. But then we're at the end of the whole series, Alistair. So
oh no,
who do you think is going to win all this?
Right. So it's completely Swiss draw all the way.
It is.
And assuming that no teams play each other.
And we know actually one thing that happened that was really interesting with the draw was that none of the top-rated teams actually met each other in the draw. So it will be a bottom or a newer or an unknown team facing a top-rated or experienced team in each of the matchups for the first round.
Yep. So assuming full Swiss draw, teams don't replay each other. I know that going into the event, the favourite teams are England 1, Denmark 1, and Spain 1. Those are the favourites. They have to be, in my eyes. But the 3 favourites never finish on the podium because at some point they put each other down.
Each other and knock each other off. Unless one of them actually wins all their games, which could happen, but yeah.
Well, of course, but it means that the other 2 favourites, they won't win enough games. So I am going to go with this. Ooh, I predict England 1, Spain 1, USA 1, Spain 2, then Denmark 1.
Wow.
In that order. Is that the top 5?
That's the top 5.
And I believe it will be the last round, mate, where Denmark get punted out.
By Spain 1?
I think by England.
Okay.
Because I have been like one of the favourite players in a singles event, and I have ended up on the top table in the last round and lost to another favourite player.
And then I end down.
Yep, I end up in 5th or 6th, even though I've been battling at the top all weekend. And I think that might be your fate. Sorry, Bo.
Well,
but I see. I know a bit more of the players that England have, and I think they are fielding their strongest team they ever have with their strongest lists.
Topher, Luke Salter. I mean,
I've played against all those guys. I know them all personally, and they are excellent. I know that they're just great. Same with Spain. I've played against half of them, maybe even a third of them. We all know their quality. I really like USA 1, but they, and John Ross might get a bit frustrated when I say this, but they will be the submarine.
Yeah.
I
think so too.
Up.
I think they will get knocked off in one round the first day, and then they will climb back up.
Yep.
in the
And
rankings. Yeah.
I think the same for Spain too, because we played Spain too at the World Open War event, and again they're just a good tier of Spanish players who really know what they're doing. So I think they'll be another submarine, on par with the USA. But my wild card, Italy.
Yes.
I love the look of their
The
lists.
Italians are not. They're really good players, and they are very energetic, and they are very hard to beat down. I think if the Italians have a good run on day one, they will be real contenders. I would also throw in Wales into the mix. They also have a real good set of players on their team. As a wild card to see who ends up in the top five. And potentially USA 2 as well. I think I actually would rate the players on USA 2 higher than the players on USA 1.
What is your top 5 predictions, Bo, before you sign off?
I have to put my own team in first or second place because I think we are in a position where we could do that. Depending on the luck of the draw and who ends up where. I think Spain will potentially flop this year. Not flop completely because they never do that, but I don't think they'll win. So I think my predictions for the top three, and in which order I don't know, but would be Denmark 1, England 1, Wales, Italy for the top 5 at least, and then USA 2. We'll see.
Bold predictions.
Bold predictions. I do have a little bit more scientific predictions coming up at some point because I've been rating all the lists that I've gotten a hold of. So I have a collected rating system that based just on lists will also give the rating, but and that's pretty close to what I think will happen. Yeah.
Oh well,
We shall
time will
see.
tell.
Time will tell. Right, Alistair, thank you so much for tuning in this morning. It was brilliant to talk to you again, and yeah, that was it.
Good luck.
Thank you. And we'll talk afterwards, I guess. Yeah.